see if this is actually working this time. So, fingers crossed, I've been playing around with this all day. So hopefully everybody can hear, everyone can see, and everyone knows what's going on. So welcome to the first of 4 weeks worth of online spin classes, or bike classes, performance, all those kinds of things, whatever you want to call them. And what we're looking to do is just not get lost during lockdown, just not looking to get kind of out of shape or anything like that. If we don't need the excuse to not do any work, that's the reason I'm here. I'm doing this more than anything else, so that I keep active. All you need is your bike set up at home. You know you've used it before and all those kinds of things. So make sure you're nice and set up. If you are based on a power bike, okay, so if you have FTP set up, if you're on a turbo trainer, you use Zwift a lot, all those kinds of things, we are going to be working within power zones. So hopefully your FTP is nice and up to date and you know what I'm talking about, and we can work in those specific zones. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. If you've just got a normal bike, you've got no heads-up display, all those kinds of things, we can still get after it today. Just listen for the cues, that kind of thing, and that's about it really. So week 1, Tuesday, 7:30. Hopefully the kids have gone to bed, you've got your water, you're set up, you're ready to go. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Week 1. I'm going to find a much easier way of doing all this as well. All right, so week 1 is just a nice little gentle one. We're not going too high in regards to zone work or anything like that. A little bit more consistent work. So, warm up to start with. Get a resistance on. Nice and easy to start with. Obviously, if you're working with zone, you're working with your FTP. You can see on the screen there over on the left, that kind of area you want to be hitting. That FTP zone that you want to be working in. Currently around that 50%, it kind of feels like you're walking along the beach. Nice and easy. Speed-wise, let's see if we can hit up and stay around that 90 RPM mark. If you don't have any indicator of what kind of speed you're doing, listen to the beat of the music. Now it is horrendous music, but it's royalty free. So unfortunately, where the clubs aren't paying the costs, that's all we've got. So on the beat, left, right, left, right, left, right, around that 90. Little bit more resistance. Going up into your green zone if you're in the power zone. Should feel like you're kind of just jogging along the sandy beach. Alright, let's talk about bike setup, what you're doing with the bike and those things. Hopefully your feet are strapped in nice and tight. You strap your feet in so you can pull the pedals backwards, okay? We've been taught our entire lives to push the pedals, we actually want to pull them back. So think about having mud on the bottom of your shoe and you're scraping it off on a step. Drag the toes away from the toe box, every single stroke. Big pulling motion. Alright, we're going to pop a little bit more resistance on. 2, 1, there we go, just a little bit more. We picked up the pace on the beach, on that sandy beach. Think you're chasing after someone. Whether that's the ice cream man, the toddler that's going too deep in the water, whatever it is. Keep on pace, little bit extra. We're in that tempo zone. Kind of resistance that we can hold for 3 to 4 hours. Alright, so we're pulling those feet back. Upper body, however you hold the handlebars is perfectly normal. We're not dancing around. Everything that we do in these classes is based off performance and efficiency. So get comfortable, Just draw your elbows in, your shoulders down towards your back pockets. Good upper body posture throughout. Alright, 5 seconds. We're going to add that little bit more. Remember, this is just a warm-up. There it is. A little bit more. Up and around that FTP zone if you're in the power. You might notice I keep reaching down. This bike has got a different gear system than the one I'm used to, so I keep reaching for my gears and they're not down there. Alright. 30 seconds and we take the resistance off. So we're going to be working with power zones mainly. And if you don't have access to power zones, that's fine. All I want you to think about is an out of 10 mark. How do you rate how difficult the work is? And how we're going to kind of get on with that and find that level for you is this little 5-minute section we're about to do. So we've got 60 reps in a moment, followed by 5 minutes. And that's where we're really going to kind of decide where we're feeling and what we're working today. Alright, resistance down for a minute. So, if you're set up with power, if you've got your FTP in, you're going to sit 5 minutes in your FTP zone. Should be nice and relaxed. We know it's a 60-minute zone. So you can keep that resistance for about 60 minutes if your functional threshold power is set up correctly. Everybody else who's not working with power, here's what I want you to do. Set your speed. You've got that rhythm. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Add a bit of resistance. You're going to keep adding that resistance till you can't hold that beat anymore. Feel how that feels then. That's your 8, 9 out of 10. So when we get back to that feeling, you've got that idea of where we want to be. Alright, let's go. So FTP zone, remember. Functional threshold power zone. If you're set up with power on your bikes. Heel stroke. Pulling back. Left, right, left, right. And after a while, when we start zoning in, all you'll hear is that beat. That beat carrying the legs. Left, right, left, right. Left, right, left, right. So we're adding a little bit of resistance at a time. A little bit more. And if you can comfortably hold that pace and that resistance, add a little bit more. You hold it for maybe 15, 20 seconds. Add a little bit more. Remember, we're trying to find that ceiling of what you feel is comfortable today. So it's all about how you feel from there. So if you have got that dial in front of you, you can hold that 90 RPM speed, which is right around the beat of that music. You can keep an eye on that measurement as you turn that resistance up. You can keep on pace. And eventually you're going to find that section where you can't hold the resistance anymore, where you can't keep up the pace, where the oxygen leaves the lungs and it doesn't seem to be coming back. We just dial it back that little bit. Think about how that feels, and that's our kind of 8 out of 10 feeling. Alright, done 2 of 5. Still at pace. Left, right, left, right. So if you're sat in your FTP now, you road bikers, you savages that are on Zwift when it's raining outside, those kinds of things. I want you to think technique right now, because chances are your FTP, your functional threshold power, is set correctly for you. So that means this is pretty easy for you, just an extended part of your warm-up. So think, how flat is your foot? Are you poking your toes down? Are you raising your toes? Try and get a flat-ish foot. Pulling back with those heels. stamping down, scraping back, all on pace. Left, right, left, right, left, right. 90 RPMs. 2 to go. And the reason we're up at 90, studies have shown that around that 90 RPM mark is the best place for power output. So one of the things you'll hear me talk about a lot over the next 4 weeks of lockdown is power training. Because it is the most efficient way of training. We can train smarter, but not necessarily harder. We'll be able to plan our work, plan our recovery, and challenge ourselves correctly. 9 to go. So if you've not already found that limit, if you've not found your 8 or 9 out of 10, that oxygen sucking section out of the lungs, let's get that resistance up a little bit more. We got 60 seconds to find that top end. And as we're going, flat feet-ish. Knees parallel to each other. So don't let them go across the bar like they're trying to kiss. Don't let them go away from the bar like a cockney on a bike. Straight ahead. Where those toes point, those knees follow. 40. And we're going to drop the resistance and go back to a nice big rest period. Final 30. Don't give up on your resistance, especially if you're just finding the top end of yours. Oh good, the music's dropped out, that's brilliant. But that's fine, keep on going. Keep in your mind. Keep on pace. We're almost through. 3, 2, 1. Brilliant stuff. Okay, resistance down. Keep the legs moving. Legs just keep on moving. All right, keep that pace. We've got a nice big 5-minute rest period coming up here. So we've got plenty of time to recover from what's going on. Gives me also plenty of time to try my very hardest to make sure that there is music playing. So you keep going. You keep playing. Yeah, outstanding. That music's gone. Good. All right, keep that pace. We've got a nice big 5-minute rest period coming up here. So we've got plenty of time to recover from what's going on. Gives me also plenty of time to try my very hardest. Wow, this is awesome, isn't it? First day. Yeah, good. First day, first session, first problem. Even though I tried all day to try and get this to work properly. All right. Keep on pace. Nice big water break situation. Water break, and we'll see what's going on. This is totally going to go in my outtakes.
Workout music source.
Alright, let's see. Have we got the music back in now? Alright, fingers crossed that's the music back. We're down to 3 minutes of rest period, so don't take too much time off. Alright, keep the legs moving. Keep them controlled. We can use this time to make sure our technique is set and fine. Nice pulling back motion. Remember, we're trying to flatten that foot. Pull, pull, pull. So, a lot of what I'll talk about is this power work. Because like I say, power training is the most efficient way and easiest way for you to be able to train. And as you see at the top of the screen, nope, over that side, we've got this up and down mark, these colours. So if you've got what's known as your functional threshold power set, if you've got a test that you've sat and you've completed, then what we can do is base everything else off of that. We get a benchmark, if you will, of your performance, of your fitness, and we work as a percentage of that. So what that allows us to do is specifically target parts of performance to help you increase not only your mental state so you can work there better, but also physiologically as well. All right, so it sounds like the music's back in. Awesome. Okay, 90 seconds and we're going to start working. So this is much easier for you if you have power zones, like I say, because you can hit these specific zones that is being told to you by your bike, by your power indicators and all those kinds of things. If you don't, we've got to go based on how we feel. So we did that 5 minutes at the beginning. We kind of calibrated how we feel today for that high resistance work being exactly kind of 8 out of 10, 9. So that kind of feeling you want to bring forward in these next couple of sections to tweak that resistance so you feel the same or more or less than that. So our first 3-minute section coming up. We are going in our tempo zone, so it wants to feel about a 7 out of 10. So that maximum that you just felt, we can take a little bit less than that. And we're going to sit there for 3. And then we're going to bring up the intensity, bring up the resistance for a couple of minutes, then bring it down. And as you can see by the display up in the corner, in the middle, up, down, rest. So power zones, we're going tempo, FTP, tempo, FTP, tempo. Playing around to that 60-minute zone, that functional threshold power. All right. 10 seconds till we get to work. Keep on pace, keep on the beat, it's going to carry you. 3, 2, resistance on, let's go. So let's get set up. Power people, tempo zone, as you can see, over on the other side of the screen, 76 to about 90%. That's where you want to be hitting. That tempo zone. We know when we work in tempo, we've got 3 to 4 hours worth of good work there at that resistance. So this is when we can start building mindset. We can think, right, studies tell us we can be here a long time. I'm only here for 3 minutes, that's fine. So let's think that way, and let's get that pace up. If you've not got the power, it's that jog on the beach again. Jogging along on the sand towards your destination. 1 of 3 minutes done. And remember, we're pulling the heels back. The reason why I talk about pulling is because you're pulling muscles, these hamstrings, a little bit of the glutes, those kinds of things. These big, beautiful pulling muscles are more efficient in the bike than their pushing counterparts. When we look at fatigue, our pulling muscles have probably got about 40-50 minutes worth of good work in them. Your pushing muscles have got about 10 max. So that's why if you've ever been in a spin class, you've ever been in a studio, those kinds of things, and you've done big zones, you've done big gears, those kinds of things in those dancing classes, you might have had to get out the seat, because your legs were burning. Chances are that's fatigue in the quads, because you're doing a lot of pushing on the pedal and not enough pulling. So let's get more efficient. Drag those heels to the back of the shoes every single time. That's why we strap your feet in. So let's keep it going. Less than 60. Then we go up with resistance. Power people, FTP zone. In and around that 100%. Everybody else, we're trying to match that ceiling again. Trying to get that 8 and a bit out of 10 feeling that we got in that first 5 minutes. The sweat dripping, the oxygen leaving the lungs, around there. Let's call it mild discomfort. But that's arcade. That's what we're building. So keep on pace. All right, 10 seconds, first bit of change. During this long section, week 1, keep in control. There it is, resistance change, up it goes, 3 minutes. Up in our FTP zone. This is the zone we want to start to be comfortable in. This is our zone, our benchmark zone that everything is based on. So let's get comfy. Left, right, left, right. So remember, this is that feeling. We're now running across the beach. Maybe there's a slight incline. That real conscious thought of I've got to keep it going. We've got to keep it moving. All on beat. If you've got that measurement, if you've got that speed, let's aim for 90 or around there. Otherwise, on the beat of the music, let's key that. Left, right, left, right. Let's keep it on. 90 seconds. No rest period. We keep working. We just drop the resistance slightly. We're essentially base building. Playing around in zones that have got plenty of time in, just to build the mindset. As the weeks progress, we've only got 4 weeks worth of this. The classes will get more and more difficult. Consistency is always the key to changing physiologically and mentally. So if you can be consistent with these twice-a-week classes, as well as other things, those kinds of things, you're going to see the benefits. 50 seconds. Final 30 before we turn down. Great time to check in with your posture. Double check all of our keys. And you're going to hear me mentioning them every single week during warm-ups, probably 5 to 6 times throughout. The more efficient you can be with your technique, the more efficient your work's going to be, which means your performance is going to be higher and better. 5 seconds. All right, kick it down. Just a little bit. Power people, tempo zone. Around that kind of 80-85% sweet spot. Everybody else. Maybe that hill's gone out of the beach. You're just jogging along. Great time. We've got a little bit of recovery if we need it coming in there, because the oxygen burn in this zone is a little bit less than what we were just in. If you need it, grab yourself some drink, wipe the sweat away from your brow, those kinds of things. At least you can use your towels in the studio right now, in your home studio. Those of you, my regulars up at David Lloyd, you know we can't take towels in there. So that's the benefit of being at home. Although if it's anything like me, your front room or wherever you're working out, one of the drawbacks is there's no air conditioning. Especially as the radiator's on earlier drying some clothes, I am roasting. Ah, that's an idea, isn't it? Hot spin. Who's in on that? All right. 90 seconds in his tempo zone. And remember, we're trying to keep pace. We're trying to concentrate on technique, even though the resistance is a little bit lower. So as I was saying before I got carried away, think about your key points. Toes and knees. hips, elbows, shoulders, all of those. So remember, toes facing forward, knees following toes, hips pushed back in your seat, elbows drawn in, shoulders down towards your back pocket. 60 seconds. We're going back up in resistance for another 3. 3 in your FTP. 3 in that functional threshold power zone if you've got it set up. Otherwise, it's that kind of 8 out of 10 feeling. The sweat-inducing, bordering on oxygen sucking out of the lungs kind of feeling. Think you were singing, and you'd be able to say maybe 4 to 5 words out of every line. That's the kind of feeling we want. All right, resistance change in 10. 3, 2, let's go. Resistance change. 3 minutes. Steady pace again. Same rhythm. We're trying to perfect that 90 or around there. As I said at the beginning, it's generally considered one of the most efficient places for that power output. Power training is calculated by your average speed. No, sorry, your speed times your resistance. Averaged out over 60 minutes. So the big test is sitting in a bike for 60, holding as much resistance as you can, and a prime speed. Set to benchmark. We got 2 more to go. Keep on pace. Follow the beat. Follow your gauge. Follow that internal rhythm. Your legs have been kicking there for what, like 20 minutes? 30 minutes almost? The legs love the rhythm. They're set. Depending on the bike setup, you may also have access to your average speed over the session. Check your average speed. Are you holding a consistent pace the entire time? Have you got full pedal control the whole time? Hey, and if you've got a watt bike, what's your heads up looking like? What's your peanut looking like on that screen? Have you got a great, beautiful peanut, or have you got a sausage on there? What's going on? 60 to go. We drop the resistance. Final 3 minutes of this round. Keep on that pace. Final 30. Keep breaths. That's the other thing you want to start to take into consideration. If you're sat there super comfy, if you feel like your technique's set, you look down, you check your feet, your toes, you're comfortable with your pulling back and pushing down, that stamp and scrape as it goes round. Your upper body's set. Maybe you're even down in your racer's pace. Whatever it is, bring the thought to the breathing. 1, resistance down, tempo zone, about a 7 out of 10 feeling. It's that slight jog, maybe a little bit more than a jog, on the sand, running towards that ice cream man, or running up towards that cafe to get yourself a treat. This tempo zone, it's around 80% of our benchmark, of our FTP. Kind of zone we can hold for 3 to 4 hours. The moderate resistance output. but one we want to spend a lot of time in and get very comfortable. Because if you're comfortable at this kind of pace, at this kind of resistance, that means you've probably got the right mindset for the next one. 2 to go. Checking again, heels, toes, knees, elbows. Maybe even think about sliding those hips back just a little bit more. If you deadlift in the gym, whether that's RDLs, traditional sumo, whatever, you do good mornings in the gym. Anything talking about this hip hinge motion, think about getting in that hip hinge. Because what we're doing is we're putting tension through those hamstrings, we're engaging those pulling muscles, which is what we're looking to do, get them as involved as you can. Keep it going. Just over 60. And then we got our first true rest period of this section. 60 on the clock. So we hit blue. And we're going to rest for 2 minutes before we hit that resistance peak that you can see coming up at the top of the screen. Just up there. We've got yellow, orange, red, orange, yellow. Then we've got cool down. 30 seconds. And what we're looking to do is just introduce that red zone. We're fatiguing ourselves ever so slightly going into it, just so we can get deep into that red, start to understand what the feeling's like up in that VO2 max zone. 10 seconds, we go to rest for 2. 2, 1. All right, resistance down. Speed's the same. Control the legs, control the pedals, keep pulling back. Same pace. All right. So far then, we've done that tempo zone. We've played in the FTP zone. We've dropped down, up and down. Now, in and of themselves, we kind of need minor rest recovery from them at the kind of levels of work we're doing with them. That's why we combo them back and forth. The more we work in high resistance zones, the more recovery we need from them to fully recover to attack them again. So this red zone that we're about to go up into, traditionally, we need a little bit of rest afterwards to fully recover before we can succeed in that zone again. But generally, when we're just introducing them, one of the things we're trying to do is change your mindset. Change your ability to see what is stressful to your body. See what your pain cave feels like and get comfortable there. So rather than a long period in red, we just can do a slight bit of pre-exhaust, hop in the red for 60 seconds so that we feel into it deeper first. And then we're going to drop out and figure out how to keep working just with slightly less resistance. All mindset. So, tempo, FTP, VO2 max, back down if we're in your power zones. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, etc. Sign in 3, 2, let's go. Resistance on. Tempo zone then. Up around that 80-85%. Aim for the middle of those zones. Remember, we've got those two things which look at our power output. We've got speed and we've got resistance. When you're on the bikes and you set your gear, your resistance doesn't change. But it's super difficult to nail an exact speed. So by continuing to aim for the middle of the zones, gives you that little bit of leeway at the top and the bottom of those zones, depending on what your bike stroke is like. So even though our counter over there on the other side says 676 to 90, aim for the middle. Give yourself that little wiggle room from there. 60 seconds. And then we're going to turn up that resistance ever so slightly. We've gone from a 7, we're going up to that 8 out of 10. We flipped up and down with these zones before, so you know that feeling. Going up to that FTP zone, power people, in less than 20. Keep that pace, whether that's on your dial or on the beat of the music. All right, 10 seconds. Mindset's on. 2 minutes. FTP. 3, 2, let's go. Bit more resistance. 8 out of 10. That running across that sand, or maybe jogging up a slight sand embankment. Drag those heels back. Left, right. Keep on pace. Pull those toes out of the toe box. "90 seconds. We're going to put that bit extra resistance in just for 60 seconds. That's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking. 60 seconds up in red. So power people, VO2 max zone. Around 110% of your FTP is what we're looking for. Everybody else, a little bit more resistance. Wants to feel like the oxygen is escaping from the lungs. But maintain the pace. Maintain the technique. Knees, toes, elbows, hips. Shoulders as well. Don't let those shoulders raise up. Don't drop that head down. Loud and proud posture. Let's keep on target, 40 to go. Big challenge. It's only for 60 seconds. And then we're up for 60. And it's the real tough challenge when we come down the zones to maintain the pace, maintain the work rate. So whenever you turn onto the bike now, if it's a quarter turn, if it's one gear, whatever you put on now, take that off, get back to this place. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Red zone, VO2 max. 60 seconds. Ignore the legs now. Concentrate on the breathing. We're burning loads of oxygen to keep this resistance. We're not being able to take as much oxygen in. Shortness of breath is coming if it's not there already. Fight through. The kind of resistance we should be able to hold for multiple minutes. We're only for 60. 20 to go. Final quarter of this section. Drop back to FTP in 10 for 2 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Just to that FTP zone, 8 out of 10. Don't drop off anymore. Fight on pace. 2 to go. Got less than 4 minutes worth of total work to go. Don't slack off right now. Your intention's been set through the whole class already. So let's finish strong. Finish on that same pace. The beat hasn't changed. Don't let the legs change. 90 till we drop a bit more off. Ooh. Deep breathing, especially that breath out. Really work on that exhale. From the diaphragm, big push. That exhale is all, probably I'd say, more important than the inhale. "45. FTP zone, that bookmark zone, this is our benchmark zone. Those of you with the numbers and the stats definitely shouldn't be dropping out here at all. This entire class is structured around being completely achievable if your FTP is set correctly. So mentally, you've got to build that bridge to keep yourself going. You've got to trust the studies. Trust your body's performance. Let's finish strong. We've got 10 seconds, so we tuck off a little bit more for another 2 minutes. Tempo zone to finish. 2, 1, down he goes. 2 minutes. High 6, 7 out of 10. Running on the beach. Keep the pace. We got 90. And then we cool down for a couple of minutes. And that's our nice little 45-minute introduction to what's to come. Combination of me talking way too much, sometimes about way overcomplicated stuff, mixed with some cheesy ass tunes. But sometimes with these performance kind of work, you just gotta zone out. What the music's doing is just listen to that beat. 60 to go. Hopefully we got some kind of semblance of balance back. Mindset, body as well. So let's set back for this last 60. Sort that technique out. Flat foot-ish. Don't go toe heavy. Don't go heel heavy. Somewhere around flat. And you're pulling it back. Scraping that shoe off like you've got mud on the bottom. Knees are parallel, forward and back, like the toes, pointing exactly where the toes are. You're stamping down and scraping back. Stamp, scrape the mud off. Elbows are in regardless of where you're holding the bike today. Elbows are in. Shoulders are not up, head down and relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, work done. Resistance down. All right, we got a 4-minute cool down. So, should be in that rest zone if you've got power, 50-ish% in the blue. Nice and controlled, and try and keep that same kind of attention to technique. If you're on a spin bike, don't let the momentum take your legs away. Control your legs, keep them moving. Your pace, you dictate. There's a bunch of wonderful stuff coming up now from there. So as you can see, intelligentcycling.com is this wonderful package that I use online. So if you look at the bottom, not that side, this side down here, there is a ticket number. So what you can do is you can at any time get this heads-up display for this class using that ticket number. You can come into it live, even if you can't get the picture or anything like that, and you can come into it live via their app. It's a great app, and I know there's loads out there if you're a bike person, but intelligent cycling, if you do not have the want to jump into Swift or anything like that, you can just get this app on your phone, and it's got hundreds and hundreds of plans to work out to, and all those kinds of things. Well worth it in my eyes. Obviously only if you're using it as part of a regime to supplement these wonderful classes. All right, 2 to go. Keep the legs moving. So we're doing a bunch of things right now. We're bringing the body down, okay? Heart rate's coming down. The body's fully recovering. We're bringing homeostasis back to the system because we've done a little bit of up and down like this. So we want to bring it back down to normal. Also, what we're doing is because we're continuing to use good technique, we're still building those blocks towards efficiency of technique. So still the same thoughts. Toes, knees, elbows, heel dominant, all those kinds of things. Take on the water if you need to. And I'm a huge proponent of keeping the legs moving through recovery and cool down for two reasons. One, because of the technique aspect. When you're tired, when your muscles are tired, neurologically your body makes the best jumps in efficiency of use of those muscles, because those muscles are tired, so it's got to figure out how to get the signals through to make the movement. So that's why after long runs, I always program my guys that I train to do recovery runs and that kind of thing through fatigue and those kinds of things. So we can kind of get a good kind of change in technique to make them more efficient. The second thing that it does is by continuing to keep your legs moving, as part of your body's makeup, your veins in your legs squeeze like this. And that helps get the oxygen, the blood that's been used up, the waste product and those kinds of things back up the legs. So it helps a little bit of recovery as well. All right, just a couple of stretches on the bike before we go. Just try out your hands behind the back, just push them down and away from your shoulder blades. And we're really pushing them down, so you'll notice how your shoulders go back and your chest comes high. So it's kind of an exaggerated body position for how I want you on the bikes. Because right now your shoulder blades are firing towards your back pocket. So if you think about that when you're on the bike, however you're on there, that kind of feeling of those shoulder blades down and back towards your back pockets. Bring one arm across. As soon as you can't get across anymore, just hug it on in. Just relieving a little bit of pressure on those shoulders. They've done loads of stabilizing of your upper body. We'll go across the other side as well. Lovely. I do recommend jumping off the bike when you're ready and only when you're ready. One of the things when you push yourself to extremes of performance, if you've done that today, is your body gets all these chemicals in it, adrenaline, endorphins, all those kinds of things. And if you stop high resistance work very quickly, without bringing your body down nice and slow, all those chemicals get dumped into your system where it don't want to be, and it can come up the wrong way. So I recommend staying in the bike as long as you need to, till you feel ready to get out the bike. Then give the legs a little bit of a stretch and a tension. Hamstrings, quads, those kinds of things. If you've been by today, that's great. Thank you very much for your support. Click a like so I know you've been here. Leave a comment, something along those lines. I'd also appreciate any kind of sharing or tagging that you can do to people to make them aware of this class. Obviously, it's a free online class, and because it's on Facebook and the internet and eventually YouTube as well, anybody can see it anywhere around the world. So you don't even have to worry about Bob down the street being the only person you know that's got an indoor bike. Anyone in the world can get hold of it and have a play. So let's see if we can get those numbers up, build a little online bike community through this power hour over this lockdown period. So yeah, any kind of like, comments or anything like that would be great. If you've got any questions or queries about anything I've talked about, I talk a lot, you might have noticed that. By all means, drop me a message, DM me, anything like that, and I'll be happy to chat about it all. Next class Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning. Nice and early. Get the kids out with your partner for breakfast in the dining room and come grab your bike. And let's get after it again then. Apart from that, have a beautiful rest of your evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see you on the bikes next time.